Good morning. This is your stats sensei, Mr. Spensei, and we're going to go over bias scenarios some more. And this is another free response question. This is off of 2004, Form B, question number 2, AP Stats exam. At a certain university, students who live in the dormitories eat at a common dining hall. Recently, some students have been complaining about the quality of the food served there. The dining hall manager decided to do a survey to estimate the proportion of students living in the dormitories who think that the quality of the food should be improved. One evening, the manager asked the first 100 students entering the dining hall to answer the following question. So here's the question. And oh, by the way, the first 100. Many students believe that the food served in the dining hall needs improvement. Do you think that the quality of food served here needs improvement, even though that would increase the cost of the meal plan? Yes, no, no opinion. All right. I don't have any problem with the yes, no, no opinion, but we probably need to look at the first 100 and the way the question was worded. So, in this setting, explain how bias may have been introduced based on the way this convenience sample was selected. First off, convenience samples are bad. Okay. And what they did was they took the first 100. Well, why is choosing the first 100? The first 100 may not be representative of the entire population who eats. And then you need to give a reason why. So you need to say the first 100 may not be represented. First 100 have different opinions, may not be represented. Well, I can think of several reasons why it may not be represented. The first 100 may be super hungry, and when you're hungry, even bad stuff tastes good. The first 100 may be the ones who really like it, so they rush there to get there because they like it and they don't represent everyone else. All right. It's also possible the food is fresher when the first 100 get there, as opposed to the end when the food isn't fresh. All right. You just need a reason why that's reasonable. You need to say that they're not representative. So you need to say not representative, and then you need to give them a reason why they might not be represented. Right? So that's A. B, in the setting, explain how bias may have been introduced based on the way the question was worded. Well, what about the question? Well, we have a couple problems here. First off, it says many students. Many students is a peer pressure response. Hey, everybody else says this. Are you different than they are? People don't like being different. You may be okay with it, but most people don't. So that's a peer pressure response. So that's going to bias it. So that's one thing. Another thing says, even though that would increase the cost of the meal plan. Well, now you're conflating it with a different problem. I was a poor college student. I didn't care how bad it tasted. If you're going to increase the cost, I couldn't afford it. So I had to eat it. So please don't increase my food cost. So bias introduced by many of the students believe that the food served needs improvement, which could cause many students to go along with the norm and say yes rather than give their own opinion. In other words, peer pressure. Bias is also introduced by including the phrase, even though that would increase the cost of the meal plan. A cost consideration is included, and students may think the food is awful, but are unwilling or unable to pay more for their meals. So the question is, how could it have been worded differently to avoid response bias? And by the way, B was about response. How could it have been worded differently? How about this? Just start with, do you think the quality of food here needs improvement? Sounds good to me. So, do you think the quality of food served here needs improvement? That's all you needed to say in order to cover, to get rid of that response bias. Still had a problem with the first 100, but to get rid of the response bias, change the question to very neutrally worded. And then to get rid of the convenience sample, make sure you're selecting from the entire group of people that show up, whether they show up early or show up late or show up in the middle. All right. Appreciate you watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. We're going to do some multiple choice questions identifying different types of bias. All righty. Thank you.